Hello, everybody, and welcome to this lovely little episode of Wonka Watch. I'm going to be perfectly upfront. We recorded an episode last week that was kind of all around a bit of a garbage fire, but our intro was pretty good. So we're just going to drop that here because that was the only part worth listening to. So we'll catch you on the flip-flop of that.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Wonka Watch, the unofficial podcast about the Wonkaverse, where we, the Wonka Scholars, the people who have gone through it, who have dreams about it. Does it really matter? Are we changing the world? No, I don't. Who knows? But you know what is changing the world is that there will be a Wonka prequel, which we are referring to as the Wonka Rapture in March 2023. And we are counting it down with these little nuggets about the Wonkaverse for you. And I am your co-host, Elaine.
I'm Felicia, the other one.
Oh,
I'm taking on a little 1940s horror persona this week. I'm coming out from the depths bearing gifts, Elaine. I brought you a little amulet. Why don't you take a look at the gem inside?
Oh, it's pretty.
What do you see in there? Do you see a teenager with a big backpack and a hat precariously sat on sideways?
Oh, yes, I do.
Do you see a little horse?
Oh, yes, it's so tiny. It fits in the palm of his hand.
A graph, a piece of statistics.
Oh, I hate math, but yes.
Yes. This is my secret. I've been the Timothee Chalamet Timmy T career keeper for the past 300 years, and I'm passing this on to you.
No. I must pick up where the master has left off, surpass the teacher, carry on the torch.
I'll give it to you, but I'll turn into dust on the spot. Here you go, Elaine. Take my hand.
I need
Take
to.
the amulet.
No,
you're on your own, kid. Take the amulet.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to do the podcast work. No.
I'm giving it to you. Open your hand.
I reach forward with my gloved, leathered hand. I unfurl my fingers one by one slowly, and the amulet drops into my hand.
And I turn into dust.
So this is our Willy Wonka podcast. Oh, wow. What
Aren't we so funny?
Past ourselves. Pat on... I'm good now.
Keep it down. It's okay.
I'm good.
Do we need to put a paperclip in your butt? You know how like on the
that is not where my reset button is.
Okay.
What?
I don't know.
You said put a paperclip up my butt.
Well, because I was thinking the reset button, but I forgot the word for the reset button, so I was gonna say little hole on the back of you, which just sounds like butt anyway. So I was like, might as well skip the extra steps.
Everybody, this is why we chose to put in last week's episode. We're a little frazzled today. I think we should start with kind of explaining like what happened, because last time we recorded, it just everything was kind of like wrong. It felt right at the time, and then it just declined.
Let's start with one. Elaine thought we were recording one episode. I thought we were recording two. And then Elaine, never said to me, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to do 2 episodes today. And I thought we'd just kind of like assumed we were always recording 2 episodes. It was fine. It was just a minor miscommunication error. But it did lead to near the end of the podcast, Elaine was on her floor yelling into the microphone and just whining in like existential dread about like choosing to be on the podcast and everything like that.
I think part of it was like we had talked about the topic for one. I had no idea that there was a topic for a second one. Like I just went over my head. So I think that's why I was like, what is this episode about?
Because the second episode was basically just kind of a surprise for Elaine. And I kind of knew we might not even use it at the end of it anyway, but it was reviewing Timothee Chalamet's entire discography. Because Elaine had never seen any of those iconic Timmy T performances, and I thought it's important for her to see them. And then it turned into, I think, a 2-hour recording session of both of us losing our minds.
Yes. Oh, and I think it's important to note, I was a little tired due to alcoholic indulgences the night before. And we had done, and that was our previous episode we recorded was the book report, which also was like an hour and a half, like a long episode. And then we did a 2-hour. We recorded
for 5 hours that day.
5 hours. 5 hours.
And then it turned out Elaine's microphone wasn't even recording.
I was so pissed.
And then 2 days later, I spilled water all over my laptop. It just wasn't our week, okay? I'm sorry. I was really taken out of it when I realized I just dipped half my hand into my tea to grab out the tea bag with my fingers.
Felicia, we
Sometime
really have to.
Within the last week, I stopped using spoons and was just like, I'll just grab it out with my hands.
What?
And I'm not.
What do you mean you stopped using spoons?
I mean, in my tea.
On strike? Was it too much effort to open the drawer and pull out a spoon? Or
I
do you
don't
ever
put them in the dishwasher?
Here's my thing. And we
Mhm.
may be on the same wave. Like sometimes it's like, yes, I need a spoon to do this one task, but then I have no use for the spoon anymore. What a waste.
Yes.
And now I just have to immediately put the spoon away and it feels stressful. And so
that's why I've been digging up
respect.
there with my little fingies in my tea to pull out my
Uh-huh.
And here's the thing, the tea bags, Celestial Seasonings. I would love a string on that tea bag. It would be nice. It would be a little nice. Anyway, back to the episode topic at hand. So today we're basically going to be reviewing what we learned through reviewing Timothee Chalamet's childhood discography and kind of giving a retraction of some of our original Wonka takes because, we got to apologize, Timmy. We've warmed up to you. I feel like we need to formally say on the podcast that, like, we like Timothee Chalamet as Wonka. And I never thought that would be something that would come out of my mouth, but
I didn't. I thought this was going to be like a, storm the village.
hate train,
getting on that train to Haterville.
getting sued for defamation, kind of.
Yeah, we were ready.
But now, it turns out we're like kind of really into it, which, I mean, maybe it's our brains trying to cope and accept that this is our next year and a half to 2 years, potentially,
I think it was our complete breakdown that we had mentally while reviewing the discography. And again, like I was completely fresh to it and I was in such a weird state that I think the truth came out. And I think that's part of why it became painful at one point in a good way is that I was shedding the skin of the old Elaine and I am now a newborn larva who supports
Ilarva
Chalamet. But before we get into that, hey Felicia, I was at a newsstand and I put 2 quarters in there and I opened up the newsstand and you know what was on the front of the paper? It was Wonka Watch.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, good golly gracious.
I'm going to be real upfront with you viewers. The news is slowing down. Not much is happening over here, so we're pulling at straws. But I do have some interesting information and a bit of a comeback. But number one, we might be stuck in this hell for longer than we thought. Filming a new Wonka movie halted after one of the stars tested positive for COVID-19.
What?
We might be getting delays.
My God, the rapture might get delayed.
We're going to be like, it used to be March 2023, and now the movie's coming out in 2027. Dear, help us. No, it's not.
Oh my God, I thought that was real. I was about to shit myself. I was about to shit candy bars. I was not ready for that. I was like, oh my God.
Just to make our viewers more comfortable, however long they delay it, we have enough episodes topic to fill the time. Don't worry. It's fine. But I don't know if it'll actually be delayed. They just kind of had to stop filming for a few days. So I got this from The Sun, the ever reputable institution.
Yes.
They did put the headline of Illy Wonka, which did make me laugh. That one's good. I mean, I'm gonna give that one to him.
This is what happened. The cast member went and got the COVID test, and it didn't come back positive. It came back saying Illy Wonka.
So the star with the virus has not been named, and a source said, despite the strict COVID protocols everyone has been abiding with, as soon as there was a positive test on Thursday, the whole production shut down immediately as bosses didn't want to take any chances. There's a huge amount of money tied up in filming, so any delays can become incredibly costly. On-site medical staff are monitoring the situation and won't make anyone come back until it's safe. Most people involved are double vaccinated anyway, but it shows that COVID can still find a way. So that's the article. I mean, it's not the goofiest. Illy Wonka was kind of the highlight, but I felt like I'm going to be doing my diligence as the resident Wonka journalist to not touch on
No,
that.
of course.
We have a bit of a comeback from a story from a few weeks ago. Because can you guess what's open now, Elaine?
Is it Goo Goo Clusters?
Goo Goo Clusters!
Oh, I went gangbusters at Goo Goo Clusters.
And this handy article from Southern Living actually tells us what a Goo Goo Cluster is, which probably...
Wait, it's a thing? I thought it was just whatever,
No.
let's throw some adjectives together and call it a day.
It's actually like a piece of candy. So it says, America's big name candy bars owe it all to the Goo Goo Cluster. This country's original combination candy bar. The Goo Goo Cluster was invented in 1912 by Standard Candy Company in Nashville, Tennessee. Until Goo Goo, candy bars mostly consisted of straightforward single-ingredient bars made from chocolate, taffy, or caramel. More than 100 years later, the humble palm-sized mound made up of layers of caramel, marshmallow nougat, and peanuts wrapped in a milk chocolate top coat is as entrenched in Music City lore as Hot Chicken and the Grand Ole Opry.
I didn't know.
I know. Like, it's actually a thing.
I didn't know. And now I'm looking back on this is such a retraction episode.
It's literally just us being like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Goo Goo Clusters. I mean, to be fair, I was still excited about it the whole time, but I did rag on the name, and now I'm realizing they are pioneers in chocolate. Ergo, they can be as Willy Wonka-esque as they want to be. The $2 million renovation makes more sense. I respect.
So today, the nostalgic family-run candy company's collection of sweets has expanded to include pecan, peanut butter, bite-sized little goos, as well as a rotating selection of chef-curated premium Goo Goos.
They better, if they don't have fucking onesies that say baby goos, little baby goos on it, like, I'm a little baby goo.
So in 2017, they launched their first Build Your Own experience, and they said they were so successful, we knew we wanted to expand our offerings and allow customers walking in off the street to have the same experience on demand. When the pandemic hit in early 2020, they pivoted and moved the concept online.
Felicia, is it still online? Should we make our own chocolate?
Design your own premium Goo Goo candy, Elaine.
Oh, it's going to Wonka Watch. We're making our own chocolate merch. All these bitches out here with like sweatshirts and t-shirts. Fuck that. We're making our own chocolate.
We can pick 2 sweet fillings. Do you want vanilla nougat, Nutella, peanut butter,
Nutella,
urban caramel,
Nutella,
or salted caramel? I mean, Nutella. None of the others I'm that into, I'm going to be honest. I kind of just want Nutella.
I have a Nutella problem. Have I ever told you about this?
No.
It's like a legit problem. In college, I would go and get a jar of Nutella and I would just sit there and like by the spoonful, I'd eat the thing and the jar would be gone in like 2 days. I was undiagnosed, severely depressed. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Understandable. I mean,
we got to a point where my roommate was like, I don't think you should do this to yourself anymore. And so I would buy it, but she would keep it in a drawer and I had to ask permission to eat it. And that was my college experience. And now I love it. I don't have it ever. Like it was people would see Nutella and be like, I thought of you, Elaine. Like this is a whole era of my life I kind of forgot about because it was a problem.
I get that because I kind of had the same thing with Cheez-Its in college. People would see them and be like, it's Felicia. And I'm like, is that my thing?
That's your legacy.
Them. They're consistent. They're cheap. Okay.
Okay,
just
and then there's
3 add-ins. Okay, come on. Here's some. Okay, I'm just gonna read you the most insane add-ins. We can add in Frosted Flakes.
Ew, what? Ew.
We can add it. Oh, it gets worse. We can add in pretzel pieces, which is fine. I'm down for some pretzel pieces.
That's good. Oh, Nutella and pretzel pieces?
We can put straight up hazelnuts in there. Okay. You can put in potato chips, which is...
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, it's good, but it's not what you expect. And then you can put in, you can put in Fruity Pebbles, which I don't like.
I was weirdly waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, no, it seems
I sensed that when this journey started. I was like, these bitches fuck with Fruity Pebbles. And here we are. I love Fruity Pebbles.
That's kind of the whole thing. And then you pick your chocolate. So, I mean, that wasn't...
Adding Fruity Pebbles to a chocolate bar is just adding a different kind of sugar. Like, it doesn't really add anything.
I will say the experience of making that was not as exciting as I thought it would be. There was no like fun little graphics. It was literally just pick from a drop down list,
Aww.
There wasn't any
really
like
cool in person.
We're pumping the Nutella into the chocolate, woo!
Like Build-A-Bear, they make you like cross your heart and say a little like weird chant to enter the cult.
Goo Goo Clusters, you're not Wonka-esque. You're just a drop down menu on a shipping site.
Wonka is disgraced by you.
Okay.
But I would vote at some point, and maybe I'll order some. I want a Nutella potato chip chocolate bar. And they're in Nashville, you said?
Yeah, I mean, that money
That's
doesn't
not
make it
far
far.
away from me. No, I don't live in Ohio anymore. I totally forgot. I mean, I think it's still, well, no, I'm on the coast. Never mind. Wow,
Yeah.
that was weird.
So getting back to the topic of the episode, we're going to kind of go through piece by piece. I think I'm going to throw tiny snippets of the Timothée Chalamet music we're throwing in here to kind of talk about, let's go through his discography and kind of, discuss what have we learned after watching these. So the first one is probably the most well-known Timothée Chalamet musical performance, which is Tiny Horse from SNL.
So this was the only music thing I had seen of Timothée Chalamet.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the production value, I wasn't blown away. I mean, he at least was hitting in the notes, but it still sounded like, I believe I said in the previous episode, it sounded like Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast, where it's like she's technically singing, but it has been heavily edited, heavily produced.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, in the second chorus, he makes a lot bolder choices, and it's much more interesting.
Yes. He's adding the personality.
Yeah. I will say, he does act to 150% in Tiny Horse, so he's going to commit to Wonka. That's not the fear.
Now run! Come on, you dumb horse! I said get! Run if you know what's good for you!
Like, he is going so fucking hard for this horse.
Which I was kind of worried about. Like, I know he's quirky.
Yeah.
But, like, that is the essence of Wonka. You have to have some kind of edge.
Tom Holland does go above and beyond sometimes. Like, the whole Rihanna, the lip sync thing where he dressed up as Rihanna and did Umbrella for like 3 minutes straight.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I haven't seen the new Spider-Man. I don't think I've ever seen anything Tom Holland has been in.
Okay, he's very normal. He's the most picture the average human. That's him.
Like Jimmy, the avatar from John Lee Dumas's book, How to Start a Podcast.
Tom Holland is Jimmy. Okay, he would play Jimmy in the movie adaptation of John Lee Dumas's podcasting journal. Okay, I'm gonna put
the movie adaptation. You have to be willing to make a fool of yourself. It's kind of like on Dancing with the Stars. It's like you can do the moves, but like a lot of people are afraid to really go full for it because they're like, I'm gonna look stupid. But then you don't do the moves all the way, and then your dance isn't as good, and you just have to like whip your hands out. I have not seen
Tom Holland make that kind of like aggressive fool of himself like I have with Timothée Chalamet, which we saw repeatedly throughout his High School Musical career. So we will talk about that. But yeah, so Tiny Horse, I think is really, it shows that he can hit the notes, he can sing, and it kind of started our theory of if he is not over processed to hell, it'll be good. Because also, Wonka doesn't need to be a good singer. Like, it would be weird if you had, like, Jonathan Groff doing it. He's, like, too good. Like, there's this imperfectness, and as Mel Stewart said, a demonic, sardonic edge to Wonka. Like, we don't want an angelic singer, We want somebody who's a little bit off-kilter. My dark and twisted take on Willy Wonka vocals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is, I'm interested when we get into the musicals how it's gonna feel having like professional singers doing Wonka, because I agree. I think there's something. It's part of the like mystique of Wonka. Like he's not prim and polished.
The main thing about Wonka is whoever's playing Wonka needs to be willing to make bold choices. It's not always going to work. For the example of Johnny Wonka. Do you know what I mean? People aren't going to always like it, but at least he was making choices. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Like, it's not like it would have been way worse if he just played it like just normal Johnny Depp. Well, there is no normal Johnny Depp. Never mind. But like, if like Ryan Gosling had played it or something like that, and it's just so normal, you need somebody who's going to make like, why the fuck did they do that? Because it's not Wonka otherwise. And after watching these videos, I feel like Timothée Chalamet is going to deliver on that front.
I think he could scare the director, and that's all you could ask for.
Exactly. So
I want that director to be
formally retracting our previous Timothée Chalamet hate.
Timothy, we're so sorry. And we're going to continue to go through why we support you. So yeah, Tiny Horse at this point, I was like, okay. But oh boy.
Yeah. So the video that really convinced me and Elaine is this video from him in a musical in high school. He's performing Sweet Charity from the musical Sweet Charity. And in this video, he's not a perfect singer, but he's fucking entertaining. And that's all you need. It's like he's entertaining to watch and he is making choices.
Incredible if by and by you and I should be weak. I could touch the sky quite easily, so with you are free.
They're confusing, and I don't understand why he made them, but it's way more interesting than if he was just standing there singing it. And he's not bad either. So like,
yeah, and the scene, like I have no idea about this musical, but the scene, it looks, I think they're like stuck on a Ferris wheel and he's basically like throwing himself at this like girl.
Basically.
He's basically, he's all over her, and then he's
in a way that's weird for a high school production, I will say. I felt weird watching it. I didn't like it.
I felt uncomfortable. But it showed also that he has a range.
He does.
He has a vocal range, which was happiness. That's not the...
So this, when we were recording this episode, this solidified our hypothesis of if they do not go a Beauty and the Beast Emma Watson route, it's probably going to be pretty good. Like, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be kind of all you can ask from a Wonka. Because, like, Gene Wilder isn't a singer, unless I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I don't think he is. But...
do you know, listeners?
No, I don't. I don't know.
Let's leave a blank, like a little moment of time for them to tell us.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for providing that for our podcast. I thank you.
Now that we've talked about like the more musical theater portions of the Timothee Chalamet career, we're going to talk about his rap career, which is like nothing else. It's indescribable. So first there is the ever famous Statistics, which is a video that has over 8 million views. It was a song created by Timothee Chalamet as his rap persona Lil Timmy-Tim for his 2013 statistics class at LaGuardia High School. His overall grade was a D+. His rap name also went through a lot of phrases. It went through Tiny Tim, Little Timmy T, and then Little Timmy-Tim. So like there was a lot of variation. I don't think he really nailed one down.
High school is all about discovering yourself.
Yes. So Statistics is a video. Maybe we just stop the sentence there. Statistics is a song and it's a video. And the lyrics aren't bad. And I guess the best thing to say is like the overall confidence he puts into the song is impressive.
So I had never seen this before, and apparently it has defined your generation.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I think the teacher giving him a D+ for this was very generous. Very generous. He makes maybe 2 references to actual like statistical facts.
Let's do a problem. Let us see the probability you see me on TV. 1000.
And then the rest of it is just him going, Miss Lawton, Miss Lawton.
Miss Lawton. Statistics. Yep. Statistics. Yep. Yep. Statistics. Yep. Statistics. Yep. Miss Lawton.
He's doing a little white boy dancing, which, okay, this is the first dancing I've seen of him, okay? And I can't decide if Wonka is going to have dance scenes or not. Like, are we just going to have, like, walking kind of dance scenes? Like, montage, like, you know, I'm off to the factory, and then he's just, like, walking down the street, and then, you know, he's sitting drinking tea. Like, you know, those like minor, like in unison things people do, but it's not dancing.
I'm feeling like that's going to be the vibe based on the mini clip we have of Hatful of Dreams where he just bouncing along on the back of a truck.
Yeah. So I was like, I have no idea. You know, it's like, will there be dancing in Wonka? And if so, interesting. But so based on this video, I was like, oh, I don't know, because he looks like one of those like car noodles, those little cartoons very much dancing. And then we also learned that Little Timmy-Tim was probably very popular in school because he has been able to get a horde of ladies to be in his video, which also was wild. Like, it's just a bunch of girls like twerking in jean shorts. And again, Miss Lawton giving him a D+, again, I think is very generous.
It's wild. I do want to pull up some of my favorite lyrics from the song.
Oh, please.
At one point he says, I got rap bars, I got X bars, I got fat cars, I got superstars, I'm eating Chex Mix, bow. And that's my favorite. I really like that part. He does end the thing in the most teenage boy way by going, man, I gotta poop. So to kind of like bring us back that really anyone can make it big. The man, I gotta poop. He was already on TV at this point, which is the funny thing.
That's wild.
He was in the show Homelander at this point. So, like, he was already doing stuff and he went back. And that's the thing is, like, this song is produced. He recorded multiple layers for this.
It's well done. It's well done.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, in terms of, like, back in my day when everyone was trying to make their YouTube videos, they were using their grainy phones and just dancing, you know? And this is, like, choreographed.
So the next video we talked about was this Timothee Chalamet freestyle, which I am only going to put in 2 seconds of for the way he yells his own name.
I got bars. Timmy, superstar.
Thank you. I can't stop thinking about it. And now we're going to move on.
And hold on. We can't immediately move on. It's in his little dorm room with his friends. He's got his little backwards hat on, and he's just it is cringy. It is so cringy.
It's really cringy.
The people who released this video, like, have a shred of dignity. Like, care for your previous friend, your roommate.
Awful.
Why did you release this? Like,
it's so bad.
I felt the secondhand embarrassment incredibly.
It's also pretty explicit, and it feels weird. It's weird.
It's why, is the question.
But if you want to watch something that makes you feel even weirder, I would like to direct everybody to the Timmy-Tim Rising Stars talent show performances, which I'm pretty sure he said he did because he never got cast in school musicals and was just desperate to perform things. And he really said, if I can't be in the musical, then I'll make my own musical. So this video, these talent show performances, he did at least 3 of them, and they really take you on a journey. For example, this first one, he starts out doing a rap about Timmy-Tim, about himself. He then takes off his shirt to reveal another shirt underneath that has his phone number on it and has "text me" written on it. And then he raps a Nicki Minaj song with a wig on.
Yeah, the pink
and then
wig.
It goes to "Every Day I'm Shuffling." But he's
dancing. He's all choreographed.
Dancing.
This is hardcore dancing. And this is
I
when I was like,
implore you to check this out because the amount of dancing in this is a lot.
We're going to have links to all the videos we're talking about, by the way, in the show.
Yes, don't worry. check the show notes. They're all there.
They're all there. The dancing blew me away, to be honest, because yet again, he has somehow recruited like 50 people to join. Yeah. And like, I'm like, what were the rehearsal sessions? How many rehearsal sessions did they have outside of school?
There was more than 1 week of it. Like,
insane. Like,
it was like that was what he made his project at school. Like, it seemed like that was his like thesis project.
Yeah. That was his pride and joy. He actually, when they were like, oh, who do we want to play Wonka? His agent just compiled all those videos and sent them onward. They're like, does this seem like the level of mental stability you need for Wonka?
Is this the right amount of demonic and sardonic?
Do you feel a little uncomfortable? Then he's the perfect fit.
That is the thing. He does make me uncomfortable when I watch these.
Yes. But I'm still impressed. Very impressed.
I am a boss. You really like my shirt. Should I take it off?
So then there's one last performance that we talked about, which was the next year's performance after that original one, which is filmed in like 240p. But his stage presence improved a lot, as well as his breath control. So it wasn't like he was kind of dying on stage like he was in the first one. And there's like so many more people involved in this one. And it really feels like his Super Bowl performance.
Do you think he held auditions this time around? Like, people really wanted to be in it. Instead of him being like, hey, friends, he's like, okay, I'm holding auditions for who wants to be.
He probably did.
Lil Timmy-Tim's debut album drop.
He probably did. It feels like, I'm guessing it was his senior year. It very much feels like a last hurrah. The first song is all about twerking though, which is interesting, but there's like a plot to this one, and there's like advanced choreography, and like as much as it's a terrible cringy high school production, this one almost comes back around from the point of it not being cringy anymore and to just being enjoyable. I mean, still weird, but like,
there's still wigs. Don't worry.
There's still wigs. It's still fucking bizarre, but there's no, I'm taking my shirt off and like trying to get you to text me. It's a lot more restrained.
Oh, yeah. He kept like, Timmy, I got the vibe that he either was a ladies' man or was trying very hard to give off the vibe that he is a ladies' man, because
one of
he
the
was
two.
just like, text me on this shirt, and then he's just like, I got ladies. It's like, what?
And like, you know how I mean this with no disrespect to the man. He was the same Timothee Chalamet we know today.
More like an indie boy than like a fuck boy. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
very
Like,
much.
he doesn't have fuckboy vibes. It's like interesting.
Just one version of my mommy, before we start, I'm wondering why go with One Direction when you go with Tim.
They're an interesting experience, but as a whole, the videos did make us more positive about the Timothee Chalamet Wonka cast and kind of made us come 100% full circle in a way I didn't really expect.
Yeah,
So,
this was when I was having my meltdown, slinking to the floor. I was like, I think I'm ready to fully announce right now that I am elated, excited, and look forward to seeing Timothee Chalamet play the role of young Wonka in the Wonka prequel.
Because that's the thing. One of the
I feel
reasons
like a
we
weight's been
started
lifted
this
off my
podcast
chest.
is because, like,
The
we
whole
thought it was
reason. The whole reason.
absurd that Timothee Chalamet was cast. And now that we're here, we're like, yeah, I get it. You know?
We get it. And the fact that we get it from these video clips, like,
Yeah.
these are the video clips that, like,
Oh.
you know, compile with other things. But, like, that's what swayed me. But it did.
Here's something I would like to address in general. One of the common critiques about the Wonka prequel is that they're trying to make Wonka sexy, which I disagree with, because here's the thing. If you take the outfit that he's wearing on its own, it's okay, but it's Gonzo from the Christmas Carol, and I'm sure some of you freaks are into that. But what I'm saying is, that is not inherently sexy. You are just attracted to Timothee Chalamet, and you need to accept that. You know what I mean?
That's what it is.
They're not casting him. Yes, he is attractive. They cast him because he'll get teenagers to the movie theater, and the movie will do well. And he's actually probably going to be a pretty good Wonka. That's why he got cast. He's not cast because they're trying to make Wonka sexy. You're just attracted to Timothee Chalamet, and you've never been attracted to a guy in a top hat before, and you're upset about it. And we can all accept that. I've been through the emotional journey. We've all been through it. It's okay.
Hey, so as part of our retraction, I think we need to go through and fully explain what our Timothee Chalamet experience has been, because we've talked a little bit briefly on the podcast, mostly being like, oh my God, he's going to be Wonka. Why? But what led up to that? And so Felicia, I would love to know, what was your first experience with Timothee Chalamet? When did he first, like, when you knew about him, and like maybe, you know, what was that journey like for you?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what the first movie I saw him in was. It was probably Lady Bird, I think. But the main thing that I saw a lot was I watched Call Me by Your Name a lot, which is interesting because I don't like the movie. Basically, for some reason in my dorm,
right? Like it's
depressing, but like this is very like, this says more about me than it does about the film. It presents this very like teenage view of love, like, oh my goodness, just everything's so crazy and wild and happening and like out all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like very like romanticized and like, we're gonna go backpacking together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I am just so over that shit. I'm just not into it. I'm like a not romantic person at all. So that movie doesn't appeal to me at all. Like I fundamentally don't understand it. I don't sympathize with the character at all, and I feel bad, but like I don't. It's just like he'll be sitting there crying in front of the fireplace, and I'm like, get the fuck over it.
Get your Wheaties and move
and there's
on with your
also
life.
there's a lot of issues with the movie fundamentally. Like we're not even gonna get into all that. Like,
see, I've never seen it because it just looked really depressing to me.
It's really depressing, but he's dating a guy who's like 5 years older than him, and he's like in canon like 17, so it's really weird. And also it's Armie Hammer, which has not aged well either. Yeah, and it's also like very explicit. Like there's the whole peach scene. Do you know about the peach scene?
I don't, but I'm a little scared.
Oh god, how do I explain this to you? How do I explain the peach scene to you?
If it's best, I can just separately on my own look this up on YouTube. You don't have to go through it.
No. Oh,
it's better for me to hear it from you.
No, I feel like I'd be doing my disservice as my job as the host of this podcast not to inform you about it. So there's a scene in this movie, God, where
Felicia is like fully distraught right now. Like she looks like she aged 50 years and just woke up
I don't know
from a hangover from her son's bat mitzvah.
I don't know where he got the peach. I think he picks it off a tree and he goes up to this like fucking attic in the middle of nowhere.
Who is that? Who is Timmy?
This is Timothy.
Okay, Timothy has grabbed a peach and he's up in the attic.
The attic.
Oh no.
And he's like,
oh no.
You think he's gonna eat it. You think,
oh no.
Oh, he's just gonna eat it. It's gonna be fine and I can move on with my life.
Oh no.
No. This fucking little fucking weirdo goes and cuts that shit in half. He's like, I'm gonna fuck this peach. I'm gonna fuck this peach.
There it is.
And
Timmy and the giant peach.
You watch
there it is.
So much of it, Elaine. You watch so much of it. Like, you don't see any genitalia, but you see, like, everything else. He has the decency to do it under a blanket, but, like, this is a 2-minute scene. And camera angles don't change. You're just fucking staring at Timothee Chalamet with this fucking peach. And then the guy who he's hooking up with comes in and eats the fucking peach. It's the worst. I fucking hate it.
Oh my god.
I haven't had to like actually like I've watched the movie so many times and I haven't had to verbalize it or like watch that scene. I've seen enough times where I can watch the scene in my head and I don't want to be able to.
That's awful.
I'm like genuinely upset.
That's like an American Pie when he like fucks the pie.
It's like American Pie in the lens of an indie drama.
For comedy.
No. It is the American Pie scene, but in the lens of an indie drama, and like it's fucking weird.
Like, so
there's a lot of that kind of stuff. Okay,
if Timmy is willing to do that on, he can.
Yeah,
I have full faith that he will just be silly and wild and Wonka, but like, no peaches on the set. Keep him away from the everlasting gobstopper. It's. I feel so uncomfy right now.
I know.
So weird.
Welcome to this whole thing. So that movie, I hate it. I don't like.
Okay, so that was your main introduction.
So
to
no,
Timothee
that
Chalamet.
was my main introduction. But then the thing is because basically I had a month where I watched Brokeback Mountain 6 times in 1 month. I was depressed. It was okay. But I watched it and I was like, damn, this movie's really good. So I showed it to a few friends and then people in my dorm knew that I had the DVD of it and would keep coming up to me like I was a weed dealer and was like, can we watch Brokeback Mountain? And because I like the movie, I wouldn't say no. And then that because I, for some reason, became the dealer of sad gay movies, which is funny because like I wasn't even like, I was like, I thought I was straight at the time, and so did everyone else. Like, well, okay, everyone thought I was bisexual, but I thought I was straight at the time. I realized I'm bi later, but at that time I was still in the straight moment.
Yeah.
And people,
the straight moment.
So I became the sad gay movie dealer because I had a big projector in my room, and people would come up to me and be like, "Can we watch Call Me by Your Name?" And even though I didn't like the movie, I liked having movie nights and I kind of wanted to watch other people's reactions to it. So I kept watching it. So I watched it like 3 times.
What was the mood in the room when the peach scene came out? Because like
I was screaming, badly, angry.
Good. Because if it was dead silent.
No.
It was drama.
It was very much a fun movie night. So I don't know why that was kind of my thing in college. But
the
my friend
movie dealer.
I think my friends and I just kind of like watched a lot of Timothee Chalamet movies as a concept because we thought they were funny. Like we watched, there's the movie The King where he plays like an English king, which is more notable based on the Robert Pattinson role in that. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't, but doesn't Robert Pattinson play like a French guy?
Yeah, so Robert Pattinson plays a French guy, and he says to Timothée Chalamet that he's a tiny dick and huge balls, and then it cuts to Timothée Chalamet, and it looks like he's about to cry. Like, it looks like he's about to have a mental breakdown, and it's one of the funniest scenes in cinema. And the movie's not great, but it's worth watching for that 20-second scene, because it goes back to him, and he is so sad. Like, the saddest boy you've ever seen as Robert Pattinson, like, a giant balls and a tiny little cock. That's exactly how he says it. And you cut to Timothée Chalamet and he's so sad. And so
the idea of having Robert Pattinson's chaotic energy on the same set as Timothée Chalamet's like
I will
also
say
chaotic
he's
energy.
so
That's
incredibly normal in that movie. He doesn't really do anything crazy in The King. It's very normal.
Just the fact that like those two worlds crossed, because
Yeah.
As we've mentioned, we stan Robert Pattinson on this podcast.
We do.
He is a quirky, odd man.
The craziest thing Timothée Chalamet does in that movie is have that haircut. That's kind of it. That's just, it's very bowl cut, you know, it's very Monkeys, you know, Dumb and Dumber moment.
Yes.
So that's kind of most of my experience. He was kind of a reoccurring character throughout my dreams for a few years. I think mostly just because of like how much in the public consciousness he was. I didn't really have any personal investment in him, if that makes sense.
So he's been part of Felicia's dream palace for
there was
years.
one dream where I was like roller skating at my college or he was on roller skates and he ran into me and then he fell over on the ground and I tried to help him up and he said no and just laid there. So that's kind of about all I've got.
What?
So.
I wonder what dream interpretation that means.
What's your Timothée Chalamet experience, Elaine?
So I didn't like really know about him, and I knew like younger people were starting to talk about him, and I know that there's this like, it's a late night clip. It might be on Jimmy Fallon and it might be J-Lo, but I'm really pulling it's an older person who's like in their 40s, not old, but you know, older, who was like obsessing over Timothée Chalamet. And she's like, wait, how old is he? And then the guy was like, oh, he's 22 at the time. She's like, oh, thank goodness. I didn't want to be creepy about it. But she's like, he's fine. And I was like, this is gross.
Why are we doing this?
Why are we doing this to him? Let's not sexualize little Timmy.
Yeah.
I mean, 22 is like an adult, but still like a 40-year-old.
Still weird.
20-year age gap is too much. And
it's
weird.
Still odd to be like, that's what I'm going to talk about on late night.
Right? I was like, is there anything else? I forgot how it came up. Anyway, so we're seeing that. But probably I also watched Lady Bird. So he was in that, and I was like, I kind of don't get the obsession.
Well, he sucks in that too. So
yeah, it's not great.
Oh, that's right. He's in Interstellar.
He's in Interstellar?
Yeah, he plays the young version of God. What's his face? And not the guy, but the guy's brother.
Okay, so
it's
here's
an actor. He's an actor who. Okay, so he plays the younger version of an actor who has a brother who is also famous, but he's not that one.
Interstellar is a movie that has greatly impacted my life, and I've only seen it once in theaters. But I cannot stop thinking. I have not stopped thinking about it for like 10 years.
Yes.
10 years, I think. It's felt like it's been forever. And my roommate used to play the soundtrack to study to, and that's great organ music, but it is stressful as fuck. And then I learned about the mind fucking concepts of that movie, and we had to be like, we need you to plug in your headphones because we are stressing out over here. I'm afraid to watch that movie again, to be honest, because it was such a
it's very depressing.
It's a lot. So
you don't watch that one if you want happy endings. But he plays the young version of Casey Affleck, which is who I was trying to say. The other big thing he's been in is Little Women.
Yes. So for me, my Timothée Chalamet experience, Felicia.
I'm sorry. Jesus. Okay.
It's my time with Timmy. It's all about
Okay, that's creepy. That's creepy.
I'm kidding. This is all. See, I had no idea. So I clearly had no idea who was like a thing. I did not know Call Me By Your Name was a thing. Probably Lady Bird. Lady Bird is when I knew he was a thing. And then I watched Little Woman and I just didn't get it. And I thought he was an interesting choice. Like, again, he has those like gaunt features, I would say, but in like a nice way. But it was just kind of jarring. And then I saw him in that movie and then I was like, you're great. Like, I was like, I thought he did really well in Little Woman. I was totally into it. I thought he did a great Laurie. It was very silly. And I was like, I'm invested. This is great. And then after that kind of fell off. I had no idea what he was doing. I didn't really like keep up with anything. And now here we are. And every time I go on YouTube, have you watched the interview he does with Keke Palmer on the red carpet? And it's basically like Timothée Chalamet flirting. Like it's a 20-minute video of people flirting with Keke Palmer. And he goes up there to like talk and she's like, oh, like tell me all about it. And he's like talking about the movie and then he pauses and goes, hey, you know we've met before, right? And he's just smooth sliding in there trying to shoot his shot. It is so funny to watch.
I've never seen that. I'll have to go look at it.
It is amazing. So now he's just everywhere. And now I guess I'm like a full, I don't like the word fan. I feel weird about that.
Is there a name you could call it? A shallow head?
You know what it is,
terrible,
Felicia?
terrible.
I think we're co-workers with Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have purely a professional interest in Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, like aesthetically, it's like, could we be friends? I don't know. I'm open to the
Aesthetically?
option.
That's not the word you were trying to say. Were you trying to say hypothetically? Was that what you were trying to say?
No, I'm like, I like the idea, the aesthetic of being
That's
friends.
hypothetically. Oh,
Not hypothetically. I
I know, but
the
aesthetically is
like,
such a weird word.
you're
The aesthetic appeal of being friends with Timothee Chalamet.
Yeah, well,
I do not care about his personality or anything about him. Only the aesthetic.
That was the really bad. Yeah, let me retract.
Okay, we're gonna do a retraction within the retraction.
I would like to retract what I just said because I thought in terms of the way it would look, could it be interesting? Yes, but on a deeper level, I don't know you personally, and I'm not going to pretend to know you after some BuzzFeed video that you have to answer 20 questions about yourself. Where his middle name is Hal.
I do know that.
Hal Shao.
Which I
LeMay. Why do I know this now? Why do I know these things? Because we're there. But yeah, no, but we're coworkers. We're coworkers now. And I think that it's brought a different relationship, Timothy, as we all know you're listening. So,
yes.
Do you ever leave your
Sorry,
body?
I got my daily Wonka digest in my email right now, and I was just seeing if we had any live news, and there's nothing.
Wow.
So it's a sad day for us. But yeah, it is really. What was this episode about?
We were trying to talk about how okay, because we're near the end. So
yeah, we can make this work. It's going to get cut down by like 20 minutes anyway. It's going to be a shorter episode. It's fine. So
it'll be great. So
we'll take some cutting. It'll be chopped up like a little what's something that's chopped up? Elaine, onion. It's chopped up like an onion.
That was the word.
That was chop a salad. You know what's something I fucking hate? I fucking hate. What's that thing? Is it margarita salad?
Wedge salad?
No.
Because I fucking hate wedge salads. Just I'm going to pay extra for you to give me half an iceberg that I have to cut up myself.
We already talked about wedge salad on this podcast.
I don't think we have.
Maybe you and I just talked about wedge salad.
I think we personally had a discussion.
Caprese salad. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out. We don't.
That is tomato, mozzarella, and spinach. Get the fuck out. That's not a salad. That is ingredients you put on a plate. Get out of my life.
People have gotten very loose with their definition and use of salad.
It's a deconstructed salad. No, it's not.
Fucking lazy.
That's ingredients that you put vinegar on.
Why am I paying $8 for this?
Get out.
Because I'm lazy. That's why. So all of this being said, I had a positive vibe, kind of about him, but neutral. Wasn't really caring, and now with all of the information we have before us and with the knowledge I have now about the lore behind Willy Wonka, I feel like he can do it. And I'm rooting for him.
I think so too. I'm rooting for him as well.
Chalamet.
Here's the thing. I started this podcast dreading this movie and I'm excited for it. And now,
I'm worried now. I'm worried it's not going to live up to my expectations because I'm excited.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. Between me being warmed up to Timothee Chalamet now and now knowing the people behind Paddington are working on it, which Paddington is genuinely in my top 10 favorite movies, it might be really good. And I'm kind of excited to see how it turns out. So this podcast has turned into what the fuck and why is the Wonka prequel happening to we're okay with the Wonka prequel, but we're too deep in now to leave. And that's kind of what's happening here.
It's interesting because I've been watching nothing but cult documentaries today in an unhealthy binging type of – they're docuseries, so they're hours long.
Yeah.
And I just think about the way that we've come around to Wonka.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Hey listener, I want you to compare what I just said, the parts, and then
Analyze
I want you
it.
to infer what I'm saying because I don't feel like
WonkaRapture@gmail.com, please.
WonkaRapture@gmail.com. Let us know what you think.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of, so I had an experience over the weekend. So my lovely friends do listen to Wonka Watch, and they really support me, and it's really lovely. My one friend, she came over to my house, and she mentioned to her boyfriend that I run a Willy Wonka podcast, and he said, how do you run a podcast about Willy Wonka? And she sent a video of me explaining it. And, I got like I do on this podcast, I get really fired up, when I talk about it because it's insane. There's just so much Wonka content that we don't even realize. and it's such a part of our world. And like, do you know
like,
the
people
amount
don't
of
know.
times I see Wonka stuff in my day to day? I was watching the fucking like Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, and one of the bands comes on. They start playing Pure Imagination, and I'm like throwing my coffee across the room. I'm like ripping my couch to shreds. I'm stomping on the floor. I'm like, can I have a day? Can I have a day where I'm free?
A single day. I was innocently reading a book that had nothing to do with Willy Wonka, and Roald Dahl was brought up multiple times, as well as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And I was just like,
it's truly so
everywhere.
ingrained.
But nobody sees it. Nobody sees it but us. Nobody sees it but us.
I was explaining that on a video to her boyfriend, and then a few minutes later, he sends like a Snapchat back that contains the text, "Love you, baby cakes," which he's never called her baby cakes before, it was fucking weird. Okay. And then he said, "I hope your friend feels better soon." The most devastating. It was brutal. I felt like someone had done an autopsy on me.
It's like, it's one thing for us. It's one thing for us ourselves to be
like,
you know, this is a great like escape from our like lives. But like for someone,
I've never
such
met
a third
him.
party.
That was that was his first impression of me. I've never met this man.
Your first impression that you gave to him was, let me tell you about one. What did you say about Wonka? What did you say?
I said it had a grip on my psyche that I can't let go, because that's how I describe it a lot of the times, because that's what it feels like, is like it just has this grip on like my brainstem, and it's very visceral, you know? And I talked about it the way I normally do, and I talked about some Wonka stuff I was seeing and how like it's everywhere and I can't escape it. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, I understand why it prompted him to give that response, because I was getting real fired up about it.
That's just a lot to say immediately upon meeting.
It was truly devastating. And it was also, he was about to fall asleep. This tired dude who like,
oh my gosh.
God.
You know what, Felicia, though, I'm so happy that you have this safe space here, and for all our Wonka people out there, like this is a safe place to
safe space.
To be obsessed with Wonka, to be haunted by Wonka, to have it, as Felicia said, a grip on your psyche, or maybe it's been thrust upon you and now you're in too deep.
I've fallen into the Wonka well and I can't get out.
Hey, no, wait, Felicia, look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at me. You are a beautiful.
You sent a bucket down for me, but then the bucket
it's filled with my shit.
No, you sent a bucket down for me, and you were like in the bucket. It was a big bucket, and it was a big well, and you were sitting in the bucket. Okay, and then the townspeople, because it's in a medieval town, they were like unrolling you down, and then Wonka himself came up, and with like a giant pair of flamboyant scissors, like the ones that look like little birds, he went and snipped it, and then you fell to the bottom of the well with me, and now we're down there with like a deck of playing cards that you just had in your back pocket, and that's just kind of our reality right now.
And then we sing songs, so there's like ghost stories about the well, and we're luring people to the well to get them to fall in, so they're down with us, so we can slowly climb up everyone's bodies to get out of the well.
Yeah,
but if
they're
anything,
like, that's the noise of the ghost, and they hear us going Goo Goo Clusters, you know, as we're down there. And then the Wonka Watch is just the news that they throw down the well every morning to keep the spirits appeased, because otherwise we start doing a lot of Liza Minnelli impressions. I don't know. I mean, this metaphor is going too far.
I'm not gonna lie, like I don't like horror movies, and I feel a little scared by your description. I was like, this sounds awful, because then it's like, and then we're like, but Felicia, isn't this well better? Because we don't have to deal with everyone else. Like, this well is almost a home now.
I don't know. This is just becoming sad.
Anyway,
I'm really doing well.
Wait, let's make a very convincing statement. I too am really mentally A-okay.
We're both employed for the first time in a while. We're doing good.
Great.
It's good.
My serotonin and dopamine levels are right where they should be.
Oh God.
So to sum it up, We're on board with Timothee Chalamet, and I think that's going to really it's going to be interesting now, the takes we have moving forward as we discuss more.
We formally retract any uninformed takes we made before and replace them with our new takes. That
Olivia Colman, we're coming for you. What are you doing in this movie? We need someone to put our anger on.
Yeah, who can we be angry at now? Rowan Atkinson? Yeah,
let's go. Rowan Atkinson, we're on to you. Justice for James A. Caster. Okay. So Felicia, do you have any predictions?
Oh God, I forgot about predictions.
I did too.
He's
really prepared.
They're gonna give him tap shoes. Sure, that's my fucking prediction. He's gonna get fucking tap shoes. I don't know.
My prediction is that he is going to make a chocolate item that is going to have serious consequences and is going to cause the thing where he gets kicked out and feels all alone. Like that's going to be his final like disgrace moment from all the kids or something.
I think there's precedent for that kind of scene, and I think you're probably right. There's going to be some sort of outcast element to what Willy Wonka does.
Yeah, because Willy Wonka doesn't probably have a lot of friends, and So I think that's.
I do have a real prediction. So the guy who played the lead Oompa-Loompa in the 1971 movie, Rusty Goffe, is still alive. So I think he's gonna be in the movie. I feel like it'd be weird if they didn't. And I kind of feel like I'm wondering if the approach they're gonna take with the Oompa-Loompa is like he genuinely just becomes friends with one of them, because that would contextualize the boat scene and make it make a lot more sense.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we don't know. We don't know.
We don't know because there is nothing in the Wonka Watch Digest. Get out there, reporters.
All we know is
find out the information
and they're on a paddleboard. That's all we know.
I demand more news!
Give it now!
We are waiting to send it out to the masses from our well.
We're doing great, guys.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Wonka Watch. It's been a journey. We didn't really have a structure for this episode coming in, and it really did show, didn't it? Next week, I think we're going to be back with reviewing something with more structure and substance. That is the Johnny Depp movie, the 2005 Tim Burton classique. I'm actually kind of excited. I think I'm going to like it.
Oh, it's gonna be wild, guys.
What just happened to me? Here's the thing. I think Elaine and I may end up in a real argument on the podcast. That's the only thing I will say. We've had our arguments about collapsible top hats and about geese, but I think next week is the one where like blood will be spilled. It will be brutal.
Rough.
It's gonna get bad. Okay.
Rough. You can email us at wonkarapture@gmail.com to send your concerns. You can send other things too, but we're assuming concerns.
Yes.
Make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram. We do talk a lot about visuals on the podcast, so that's a great place to go see all the shenanigans we're talking about. I guess that's it.
That's the pod. Elaine's got some podcasts. She's got
podcasts.
She's got Swashbucklers. Check them out if you want to hear more of her.
And this episode really, really hit home the message that it's not that important.
It's really not that
This is not important at all.
This is not important. Oh, God.
We are
what are we
I think
doing?
deep down, I think what's happening now is we're like, it's kind of important, and we're having to reckon with that right now, even though we know it's not
happening
important.
is we've almost, at the beginning of this episode, we were really excited about Wonka, and now that we got to the end, I'm not excited anymore.
I'm scared.
I went from being, Wonka's going to be good, and now I'm back to my despair. I'm back in the well. That was what this episode was. We were rolled up to the top of the well to see the light for the first time in years, and then Wonka took his little scissors and snapped us back down again, put us back at the bottom, and said, "You're not getting out anytime soon, bitch." And
you know what it is? It's as people with mental health disorder, fun, whatever. We don't. Hope is scary because it's like. It's like, I'm going to be anxious at any given second, so we don't have hope. We just have anxiety. Excitement and anxiety is like there's a thin line between them. And so there have been so many points in my life when I've been excited, but I'm like, am I just like really anxious right now? Or is this what joy is supposed to feel like? So I think we might.
This is the first podcast we've recorded for Wonka Watch where I haven't felt like I'm vibrating out of my seat into the ceiling and like ascending to another level. Because normally when I'm recording, I'm so pumped, full of adrenaline. And today that hasn't happened. There's this tiredness through my system where I'm just like, maybe it's actually the ADHD meds working. Maybe that's maybe it's me being medicated and used.
Oh no, we did say that if we started mentally feeling better, this podcast might disappear.
No, here's the thing. I'm doing the best I've been doing in months, and here's the thing. We're still in the Wonka hell. It's not leaving.
It's not leaving. We're in it. Okay.
Right.
And with
It's not that important.
It's not that important.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Man, I gotta poop.